Talal, Ahmad here, headed to see Michelle Whithaus, aldermanic candidate for the 6th Ward. It's been something trying to get a hold of her, so I'm excited about getting a chance to ask her some questions on you guys' behalf. So check it out. Talal here down in the beautiful 6th Ward. Had a chance to catch up with Michelle Whithaus, aldermanic candidate for this ward, and I'm just going to ask her a couple of questions on behalf of the constituents and concerned citizens of St. Louis. Michelle, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Really good myself. How's canvassing going?
Oh, canvassing is great. I've been knocking on doors for the last 2.5 months and getting a good response from people, finding out what their concerns are and just hearing about how excited they are about participatory budgeting. So it's really good that people are feeling the momentum in the 6th Ward. I see.
Well, I know you got a lot of doors to knock on, and it's going to get dark here in a couple of hours, so let's get through this. I just want to ask a few questions about the ward. In particular, Lee, what are the demographics and needs of the 6th Ward?
So some of the biggest issues that we face are the same things we face across the city, really improving education, cutting down on crime, and attracting small businesses and creating jobs in the ward. So those are pretty much the three biggest things that people are concerned with.
I see. Why is Michelle the woman for the job?
Because I have new innovative ideas. I'm looking at bringing participatory budgeting to the ward, which is going to allow 6th Ward residents to vote on how we spend the ward budget. It's never been done before in St. Louis. They're currently doing it in Chicago and New York City, and it's been working really well. It's been shown to do a couple of things. It's been shown to create more community involvement, provide accountability and transparency, and really provide a fairer share of where money goes throughout the ward. What I'm really hoping, and what's happened in other cities, is it's really activated communities and given people a reason to come out and participate because they feel like their voice is actually being heard. They actually have part of that decision-making process, and that's something that we've never had before in this city.
I see. Michelle, if you don't mind me asking, why do you want this job?
That's why. I mean, really, I see that there's such a void in our communities. We have brilliant, talented people throughout our ward, throughout the city, but yet a lot of people feel disenfranchised from the government, so they choose not to be involved because they don't see the point in it. And what I really want to do is show people that they can be involved, people are listening, and people do want to improve the neighborhood, and that's why they should get involved. It is a hard challenge, but as a former activist, that's something I'm really good at, is really getting people involved. And I really want to be sure that I'm representing all people in my ward and not just a small fraction of them. I
see. Michelle, speaking of activism, do you think that holding public office is contradictory to the anti-establishment tone set by the Occupy movement?
That's an interesting question. Really, what I think, there's only so much fighting the system that you can do. From the inside, we can make a lot of change. When I think about what I would really like to see in this country, I would like to see participatory democracy instead of a representative democracy. But as we saw in Occupy, a lot of people aren't ready to just flip over to participatory democracy. It's a very hard mindset to get into because we've already been conditioned to hand our power over to someone else and let them make decisions for us. What's great about participatory budgeting is it really gets at starting to chip away at this conditioning that we already have, and we need to start doing that. We really have to start reprogramming ourselves so that we can be ready for something greater like participatory democracy.
Okay, so I have an anonymous citizen. He's a lifelong resident of Flat, and his question was, how do you implement participatory budgeting in the current system, and will it have an effect on crime?
Okay, yes, so there has been a proven link between community involvement and a reduction in crime. So in that manner, yes, if we can activate more community members, people feel like they're part of the community, they look out for each other, they get to know their neighbors. All of these things help reduce crime when neighborhoods stick together. So yes, if we can activate the community, we can reduce crime. One of my main concerns for crime is that currently in the city, all we do is look at what to do once crimes occur, we don't really take a good look at crime prevention long term, and that's why we're dealing with as much crime in the city as we are. So if we can start looking at the root causes of crime, how do we change our society in a way that we as a city are not creating so many criminals to begin with, then we can really start to tackle the issue of crime. Until then, we're just fighting an uphill battle, just arresting and incarcerating people without actually looking at why people are becoming criminals in the first place. As far as implementing participatory budgeting, I don't think it's going to be an easy feat, but the great thing is we have models that are already in existence in Chicago and New York City that we can adapt to make our own here in St. Louis. But participatory budgeting is not a new concept. It's been going on worldwide in about 1,000 cities for the last 30 years.
Exactly, quickly, what is it?
Okay, so participatory budgeting basically is a model to create citizen or community involvement where you brainstorm ideas and things that you want to see improved throughout the ward or the district. People group up and form committees and create proposals. Those proposals then are voted on throughout the entire ward. So everyone gets an opportunity to vote.
I see.
On what projects we implement for the year.
I see. Another anonymous citizen wants to know what kind of programs or ideas you have to bring jobs to the city.
So one of the other things that's been proven is that small businesses bring more money into the ward, and they also provide jobs. So one of the other things about small businesses, if you look at the graduation rate in St. Louis Public School District, we only have about a 50% graduation rate.
That's terrible.
It's awful. So as a city, we have to look at what kinds of jobs are we bringing. You know, when we're only attracting corporations, we're only looking for jobs for a certain type of people. So we need to really look at small businesses and other, middle income type opportunities for people that have not graduated high school too, because they need to work and have money, So we really have to look at bringing different types of jobs for all people, and that's why I really support small businesses.
I see. Speaking of the graduation rate, what's best for St. Louis's students and parents? Charter schools, public schools, or both, and why?
Public neighborhood schools are actually much better for communities than charter schools or magnet schools. And the main reason is because you strengthen communities when your kids go to the same school that they live in. Parents know each other, they can look out for their kids. So really strengthening communities is important. Public schools are the way to go. I don't see why we continue to fund charter schools and other types of schools in this city when we should really be focusing on creating a solid, strong foundation for our public school system.
Okay, this is a question from a concerned citizen off of Arsenal. Some would say your opponents are more suited for the seat because of their experience and their relationships. What do you say to this?
I think the other two opponents are great people. I'm not going to knock them at all, but I will say that they are not willing to stand up and talk about any kind of plans that they're looking to implement. So they just talk about their history, and that's it. I'm the only one bringing new ideas to the table, and I'm actually the only one that seems enthusiastic about doing this job. So, we can sit around and we can look at, well, this person's done this and this person's done this, but what are they looking to do? When we're looking to put someone in office, we want to know what they're planning to do for the next couple of years. And if I'm the only one that's willing to stand up about what I'm planning on doing, I'm going to be the one who you're going to want to vote for.
I see. And last but not least, one more question from a concerned citizen in this ward. I don't have it verbatim, but the concern was with the surveillance cameras and the civil liberties. What's your stance on the surveillance cameras, and are people's civil liberties being violated by having surveillance cameras on the residential streets?
Okay, so I'm not a fan of surveillance cameras, and the main reason is because, as I mentioned earlier, we're only looking at what to do once crime occurs and how to lock people up and arrest them. And I don't think that's the right way to look at crime. So if our communities are strong, we can prevent crime long term, and that's what we really need to focus on doing, is getting people to know their neighbors, getting neighborhood watches together, and stop just looking at over-surveilling our neighborhoods.
I see. One last question. This is for me. So I noticed that I talked with your campaign manager a couple minutes ago, and I think he said that you were running against two other females.
No, Damon Jones
Okay.
and Christina Gracia.
I see, I see. And so, well, thank you so much for taking the time and let me come by and ask you a couple questions, and good luck on your campaign, Michelle.
Thanks so much, Talal.
Have a good one.
You too.
Go there.